How's it going, my G's? Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, had a quite nice productive week today, this week. A lot of production lessons, some sound design, and working on a new song. Getting my set list ready for playing a show this weekend in Berlin tomorrow, Saturday. Anyway, I thought I just wanted to share like a little another step in our sound design process together in a phase flant. And this is, I'm probably going to call it something like night train siren into dark monk over samplified Reese bass texture combination. So yeah, excuse the track title, the video title. Let's have a little listen to the loop, and then I'm going to talk about the bass that I made, which is the main one, which is the first bass that you hear. Right? Let's go.
The Parables of Phase Plant.
So pretty dope. And it's actually, so this sound here, and you can hear it actually, it sounds like a train horn. A train siren, a train horn. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. I've got no idea what I'm talking about. When they go choo-choo on the train, that thing. But yeah, I like that sound, and it completely came randomly because I was actually designing putting a human sample through some sine waves to create like a low rumbling growly kind of Reese. And then I turned on the pitch, the frequency stack global unison on phase flant, which is wicked, because it completely adds ridiculous harmonics. And then it just turned this kind of humanized low Reese bass into a train horn. And I was like, what's going on here? So I thought I'll start off with that, and I was blend it back off into the original bass. So that's what I ended up making here with this one. So if I take off that unison, you'll hear how it was to start with. So let me just tell you a little story while I turn off the effects. So basically, I'm really cool, and I'm really good at sound design, and I'm just messing around.
Listen.
Right. So what I've got then is a little bit of noise to start off the proceedings. That's exciting, isn't it? Fills out your nan's, I don't know if your nan will hear that frequency yet, anymore. Whatever. Next, filling out the high end always and blending it in with the white noise. Muy importante. Is that Spanish or Portuguese? I'm not really sure. Lo siento, no habla español. Sample now. One of the ones that comes in Phase Flant's factory presets. And it's the male, right. And I thought, I want to get a vocal texture going into a sine wave to start off, because it always kind of works quite nicely when you put vocals into the basses. So yeah, the male, right, goes into phase modulated here into a sine wave, and it's been unisoned, and it's got with the unison, I just turned the spread up to make it a bit wider, and then I synced it as well, so you can see the wave becomes a little bit jagged and a bit more like a saw, so it gets a little bit more high end on it. Not too much though. And then we go into another sine wave, because I always like to layer up two, so one at -24 and one at -12, and they're kind of the pitch is all a little bit off on all of them, just to keep it a bit more natural. But yeah, opening this one up then, so the -12 one, and again phasing from that first sine wave into the second one here, but this time just going left and right. Doesn't really matter, depends which direction you want to take your journey in. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I always like to double click all of these buttons here, so we get a bit of a longer attack and a bit of a longer release, and have a nice straight lines, because I hate things that are curved. That was just rubbish. I didn't actually mean that. The curved things are okay, Anyway, then all of this is going to run through all of our effects, and then I've got another sine wave right at the end, which is like the sub bass pretty much, and that's going to go straight into lane 3 where there's no effects. Shout out to no effects. I don't know no effects, but shout out to no effects. Shout out to dub effects. Shout out to all the effects. The FX fam. We like effects, don't we? Because we're not good enough on our own. Yeah, so next up. Just kidding, you're born good enough, you know that, alright? Let's go into the train. How is that even possible? Yeah, like, how does it go from to monk bass into train? Like, what's going on? Seriously, I don't know what's happening. It's the frequency stack mode, right? The range is turned up. So what's great about this is, like, when you have the frequency stack on, it gets mental with the higher pitched harmonics, but you can control that with the range. Problem is, it changes the whole pitch like almost like in an octave or so. So like, it's better if you're just designing the sound to have it either at -100, 0, or 100, and decide what octave of harmonic like adjustment that it makes based on those levels first. So anyway, like, down here it's quite cool, but yeah, I liked the train horn up at 100% that happens. So yeah, you can obviously spread it. I've got some other effects going to come in that add a bit of width, so I'm not doing it here. But yeah, that's basically it. And then I got to this point and I thought, like, I'm going to go from the train horn back down into the bass. So that's when I added in the LFO here. Simple ramp down, just adjusting the speed by eye and seeing that it goes down over the course of, the duration of the MIDI note, pretty much. So just going to track that to the blend, because that's like kind of like the dry wet signal of the unison. So it's just going to start with 100% on and come off, and like the train disappears into the tunnel, and the giant like monk comes out of the sky and like says, "Hello, I'm Mr. Neuromonk, the Neuromonk." There we go. That could be the name of this patch. All right, I'm going to save it. It's a train though. Train Neuromonk. There we go. Okay, so let's add the effects then before I let you go.
Effects.
So the convolver is like just like washing out the sound very, very slightly. It's not doing so much. Again, the reverb. This is really like exaggerating that train sound. So I've started with the reverb high. So turning the mix down to 0 and putting the ramp on it and turning that up to 50%. So it starts high and comes down. So you got that train horn in the tunnel with the reverb, and then it comes off, right? Then I got some movement happening on the whole thing. So I love using the ring mod, turning up the bias and then turning the frequency really down low, and then you can start to sort of give it all a nice flutter. But I'm not. I'm terribly sorry. I'm not doing it like on 100%, and it's also coming in over time. So the train horn is quite sustained, and then we start to chop up the signal a little bit towards the end as the mix comes up. There we go. Beautiful fish. And then this really makes it nice and a bit more aggressive and Eurofunk texturally. And the vocal starts to distort a lot into the sine waves and things, and you hear less of that vocal, and it becomes more of a respace here. So that's really, really sick. And yeah, I've pretty much almost finished my first phase flant preset pack, and I will drop it like in the next week or two probably. And I'm gonna do a little free one as well, because I did a few like sound design experiments while I was getting used to it, and those patches are like not quite as good as the main beefy ones, like this one for example, which I think is pretty dope. So I'm gonna drop like some free ones for you guys out in Bangladesh as well, because you've got to shout out the Bangladesh crew. And wherever you are in the world, just struggling with the energy crisis and money, so you can have some free sounds to play with as well. Yeah, and then I got one last little thing. So yeah, I mean, I didn't mention that distortion on the sine wave. I love the sine mode, and by playing with the bias, you can sort of change the position of where it's distorting the low end, and it makes it either better or worse. All right, but yeah, that's a nice technique for me, using the sine distortion and tuning it sort of with the bias. And then yeah, it's mixing up. It's coming in on this nice orange animation here. And then yeah, like as you see here, I've got a little trance gate happening. And I don't think I really even played it myself. I think it's just the sort of default setting, and I just tweaked the attack and release and things like that, and put it to 1/16. And that also comes in over time, so we get that trance gate effect happening as the signal, like kind of as the note end comes to its end, you know. So if I take that off, you know, we still got that fluttery movement from the ring mod, but now here it gets like a bit more yeah, a bit like that, you know, which is either cool or not cool depending on what your vibe is. Maybe I'll tone it back a little bit to like 80% here. There it's like almost not enough. I think I want it more actually. Let's do 95. Alright, let's play that with our beat then. And because that's pretty much the patch done there. It's not really, I think I covered everything in that one. Like, I was just really excited by the fact that it just randomly turned into a train, to be honest with you. I thought that was just wicked. These are all just a little showcase of the ones that I've recently been making, and like making into little NFT videos, which, by the way, if you don't know what an NFT is, it's Nelly Furtado's toenails. So yeah, that's very important for your future and the generations to come with smart contracts. All right, if you don't know, you get to know. Anyway, I've been Artifact, your friendly or unfriendly host. Thank you very much for watching me. I hope you have a great, pleasant weekend. I'm going to put on my sunglasses and go and hit the gym. So yeah, see you guys soon. Ciao.